the second component of our definition of value that we're digging into, we had the expected future free cash flows, but we have to discount those at the opportunity cost of capital in order to arrive at the value for the business. What is this concept of the opportunity cost of capital? Well, let's imagine I give you the possibility of investing in a project. And it's a good project. You're excited about the possibility, but you don't have the cash necessarily to make the investment. So we've arranged a loan so you can borrow the money. Let's suppose it's 100,000 euros. You're going to borrow 100,000 euros from a local bank. It's a bank. They're going to charge you interest. So let's suppose it's 6%. Now, the cash is going to be invested directly in the project. So you're not going to touch the cash. You just sign the documents. And the project is delivering an expected return of 12%. Now, we defined expected in the previous video, I hope clearly. So you understand what we mean when we say the expected return is 12%. It's not certain. Of all the possible outcomes, weighted by the probability of each one happening, it is expected to get 12%. The bank, they're charging you 6%. Now, your decision. Do the project, don't do the project. I asked this question in the classroom at INSEAD. Somewhere between 70 and 100% of the people go for the project. And then I ask, what was the mistake you just made? And the mistake was comparing the 12%, which is the expected return on the project as we defined it, we compared it to the 6%, which is the cost of the funding from the bank, what you're paying for the cash you're getting from the bank. Why is that a mistake? Well, because for value, we're not looking at the cost of the funding, we're looking at the opportunity cost of the capital. What does that mean exactly? What we're referring to there is what other opportunities did you have to put that money into that could have given you a different return, and you have to compare it to projects of similar risk. Already that's helpful, but that's not quite what we're looking for. Yes, what are the other opportunities, but not necessarily your opportunities. We have to remember there's a "the" in front of opportunity cost of capital. What is the opportunity cost of capital? And what that emphasizes is not just what other opportunities do you have to put that money into, but what other opportunities exist. Because in truth, the bank didn't need to give that capital to you. They could have given it to somebody else. And in truth, as we have come to realize recently, the world, the market out there, which has the capital market, doesn't need to give the money to the bank in the first place. Maybe instead of giving that money to the bank, which then gives it to you to invest in this project, it could have given that money to a different bank, or to a company, or to a government, or to some other entity someplace, and it could have used it instead. So when we ask what is the opportunity cost of capital, it's not the cost the bank is charging for the funding. It's what could have been earned on other opportunities of similar risk. Not necessarily just by you, but by anyone. And that defines the opportunity cost of capital. We have a very simple graphic to capture this. The opportunity cost of capital in our graphic is the blue line. It tells us the distinction, the dividing line, between value creation, which is any project which has an expected return above it, and value destruction, which is the projects that have expected returns below it. Now this, as we said, isn't the cost of funding. It depends upon all of the projects available, what other opportunities those resources could have been put into. We've come up with a number for this. The number is approximately 6.5%. It's not exactly 6.5, and it depends upon a few factors, which we'll have to dig into later. Let's say the number's between 2 and 15. But on average, it's around 6.5, maybe 7, maybe 8. This is the dividing line. This is what distinguishes value creation from value destruction, and that's the discount rate, the rate at which we discount the expected future free cash flows to obtain the value. If, when we discount those cash flows at this opportunity cost of capital, we get a value, for example, 100, and if the price we need to pay, say, is 120, then what that implies is the expected return on the cash flows, which is implicit in that value of 100 because we discounted them at 6.5%, the expected return is not sufficient to cover the price, the opportunity cost of the capital. If the price is 120 and the value is 100, it's a negative NPV. It's a value-destroying project. We're not going to do it. That's the role of the opportunity cost of capital. It's the number we need to beat, and it's the rate we use to discount the future cash flows to see if they're good enough to cover the price we're paying for the investment we're undertaking.